Welcome back to Fiction First. Today, we are diving into Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, a gripping novel that exposes the dark side of the publishing industry. Originally published on May 16, 2023, Yellowface quickly became a New York Times bestseller. Unlike Kuang's previous works, the Poppy War trilogy and Babel, this book takes a contemporary approach, offering a chilling commentary on cultural appropriation, ambition, and the commodification of identity. About the author. Rebecca F. Kuang is a highly acclaimed writer, translator, and academic. She is the #1 New York Times best-selling author of Babel and the Poppy War trilogy and has been nominated for the Hugo, Nebula, Locus, and World Fantasy Awards. Kuang holds an M.Phil in Chinese Studies from Cambridge, an MSc in Contemporary Chinese Studies from Oxford, and is currently pursuing a PhD at Yale. With a deep understanding of history, linguistics, and cultural studies, Kuang crafts stories that blend meticulous research with compelling narratives. Plot summary. June Hayward, a struggling writer, watches in envy as her friend Athena Liu enjoys overwhelming literary success. Athena's books are critically acclaimed, and her latest project, The Last Front, is poised to become another masterpiece. One night, after celebrating Athena's latest Netflix deal, tragedy strikes. Athena suddenly dies in a freak accident. Seizing the opportunity, June steals Athena's unpublished manuscript, edits it, and passes it off as her own. Retitling the novel, The Last Front, June makes subtle but significant alterations, removing much of Athena's cultural specificity to make it more palatable to a wider audience. Under pressure from her publisher, June adopts the racially ambiguous pseudonym, Juniper Song, to lend credibility to the novel. The book receives widespread acclaim at first, propelling June into the literary spotlight. She secures interviews, magazine covers, and a lucrative book tour. However, cracks begin to form as critics scrutinize the novel's content. Some readers point out its problematic portrayal of Chinese laborers during World War I, while others question whether June is truly the book's rightful author. Online critics begin to question June's authorship, and an anonymous Twitter account, @Athena Liu's Ghost, becomes her most persistent detractor. As accusations of plagiarism mount, June becomes increasingly paranoid, stalking social media discussions and lashing out at critics. Her publisher urges her to ride out the controversy, but as the pressure builds, she takes more desperate measures to maintain control over the narrative. In her search for the person behind @Athena Liu's Ghost, she discovers it is Jeffrey Carlino, Athena's ex-boyfriend, who attempts to blackmail her for money and recognition. Using her own manipulative tactics, June silences him, but the controversy refuses to die down. Unable to produce original work, she continues mining Athena's notes for inspiration, publishing a novella that reignites the plagiarism debate. Eventually, her secrets are exposed, leading to a dramatic confrontation with Candice Lee, an industry insider who records June's confession and leaks it online. In the aftermath, June finds herself isolated, publicly shamed, and blacklisted from the publishing industry. But even as her career crumbles, she refuses to accept defeat. In a final act of self-delusion, she plots a comeback, this time by writing a memoir about her downfall, once again attempting to manipulate the narrative to her advantage. Themes and symbols. Otherness as a commodity. Kuang critiques how the publishing industry markets diversity as a trend rather than engaging with it authentically. June's success is based not on genuine representation but on the marketability of an exotic narrative repackaged for white audiences. Cultural appropriation and the erasure of Asian American voices. June's theft of Athena's work is a direct commentary on how marginalized voices are often exploited. The novel questions who gets to tell certain stories and how power dynamics shape literary success. The toxic nature of ambition. June's relentless pursuit of literary fame leads her to deception, manipulation, and violence. Her story raises questions about the ethical limits of ambition and the moral compromises people make in pursuit of success. The illusion of authenticity. By adopting a racially ambiguous persona, June exemplifies the performative nature of identity in a world that prioritizes optics over authenticity. The perils of social media. The novel explores how online discourse can both expose injustice and become a weapon. June's downfall is fueled by Twitter controversies, highlighting the volatile nature of digital reputations. Symbols. Notebooks represent the deeply personal nature of writing. Athena's notebooks symbolize artistic integrity, while June's use of them underscores her theft. Ghosts. The recurring presence of Athena's ghost reflects June's guilt and paranoia, showing how stolen narratives continue to haunt their exploiters. Character exploration. June Hayward. A deeply flawed protagonist, June is consumed by jealousy, entitlement, and a desperate need for validation. As an unreliable narrator, she justifies her theft of Athena's manuscript by convincing herself that she is just as talented but overlooked due to the industry's preference for diverse voices. As the story unfolds, her descent into deception and manipulation is both fascinating and unsettling. Her willingness to exploit Athena's legacy, silence her critics, and rewrite history showcases the lengths to which she will go to maintain relevance. Athena Lou. A literary genius whose sudden death propels the story, Athena is charismatic, ambitious, and enigmatic. Even in death, her presence looms large, shaping the novel's events. Though celebrated as an icon of diversity in publishing, Athena herself is not without flaws. Her relationships are transactional, and she, too, understands how to play the publishing game to her advantage. The tension between her talent and her awareness of how identity politics shape literary success adds layers to her character. Candice Lee. An editorial assistant turned whistleblower, Candice represents the industry professionals who fight for ethical publishing. She pieces together the inconsistencies in June's story and ultimately plays a key role in exposing her deception. Her actions force a reckoning in the industry, showing that accountability is possible even in an environment driven by market trends. Daniela Diaz. June's editor, who prioritizes commercial success over ethical concerns, embodies the publishing industry's complicity in cultural appropriation. While she initially supports June, her loyalty wavers as the controversy escalates, illustrating how easily the industry discards writers when they become liabilities. Jeffrey Carlino. A disgraced writer who once harbored racist ideals, Jeff becomes an unlikely adversary to June. His failed career contrasts with June's temporary success, showcasing the industry's shifting standards. Though he attempts to use June's scandal for his own gain, he ultimately fails, reinforcing the theme that opportunism in literature is not limited to any one character. Why you should read Yellowface. Yellowface is a compelling, thought-provoking novel that holds a mirror to the publishing industry and its exploitation of marginalized voices. R.F. Kuang masterfully blends satire, psychological thriller elements, and social commentary to create a gripping narrative. The novel is particularly relevant in today's climate, where conversations about representation and cultural appropriation are more critical than ever. Yellowface is a novel that challenges readers to think critically about race, authorship, and privilege. Kuang's sharp prose and unflinching critique of the literary world make this a must-read for anyone interested in contemporary fiction with a powerful message. Critics and readers alike have given the book solid ratings: 3.9 on Amazon, 3.8 on Goodreads and 4.1 on Barnes & Noble. Curious to find out how June's story ends? Will she manage to manipulate the narrative one last time, or is her downfall inevitable? Grab a copy of Yellowface to experience this intense psychological drama firsthand. Find the link to purchase the book in the description below. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fiction First for more in-depth book discussions. Until next time, happy reading.